Me Dagutuin show me wedding ring without asking, I told the jeweler, and held his eyes before queerly saying, ma'am, I think there's more to this story than you really. I never imagined that a simple trip to my bedroom while changing the way I look at me our family forever. My name is Margaret Whittaker. I'm 68 years old, and until 6 months ago, I believed that after 42 years of marriage, I understood the true meaning of love, loyalty, and family. My husband, Thomas, said to me that our wedding ring was never about a gown. Instead from me inside it, I had a whisper whenever he noticed my absent turning the bank around my figure. Even after cancer took him, I kept that ring inside as man what you box on me dresser every single night. I couldn't bring me to wear it anymore, but I also couldn't imagine living in a world where it no longer exists. Every Sunday morning, I opened that little box, smiled at the engraving hidden inside the bank, and queerly watched Thomas still teach me about making pancakes that were always a little too crispy. That Sunday started, like every other. Soon I slipped through the bedroom curtain, warming the hardwood floor as bird chirped out the kitchen window. I made myself a cup of coffee, fold a basket of fresh laundry, and decided to polish the ring before placing faithful beside Thomas' photograph. I pulled open the jeweler drawer. The box was there. But when I lifted the light, it was empty. At first, I thought my memory had failed me. Maybe I had moved the ring somewhere safer. I searched every drawer, every shelf, every quart pocket, and every little ceramic dish where him left me earring. My breathing became slow, not faster, because deep inside I already knew the truth. The ring had not disappeared by accident. Someone had taken it. I wandered downstairs holding the empty jeweler box. Ashley was sitting at my kitchen island scrolling through her phone while waiting for Daniel to finish our work in the living room. She looked perfectly comfortable in the house that Thomas and I had built together over 3 decades. Ashley, I asked as kindly as I could, have you seen my wedding ring? She looked up, barely surprised by the question. Then she smiled, not warmly, but with a kind of confidence that comes from believing you'll never be challenged. Oh she said, setting her phone on the counter, I shown it. I stared at her, certain I had misunderstood. You what? She shook as though we were discussing an old sweater instead of the lapis of my Maria is still held close. I shown it. You weren't wearing it. It was just sitting there. Besides, you are too old to net love story anymore. For a moment, the empty house smelled quite than I had ever known it to be. Even the coffee maker stopped humming. Daniel wandered into the kitchen just then, glancing buen USB for rubbing the back of his neck. Mom, I had said careful, it was only a ring. Ashley thought it would be better to turn it into something else. He looked at me song, searching his face for the little boy Veducto once held me hand crossing with his cheek. The 10-year Veducto cried at his father's funeral. The man I believed still remembered what that ring meant. Instead, I found smell avoiding my eyes. I closed the empty jeweler box with gentle hands, smiled softly, and thanked Ashley for telling me the truth. She looked relieved. Daniel looked hopeful. Neither of them really that my silencer was not surrender. It was the beginning of me search for everything they believed I will never uncover. I carried the empty jeweler box back upstairs and played it easily with it had and been, and mocked as how my hands referred to accept what had happened. The smile indentino in the velvet lining with Thomas' ring had left for a semester strangely permanent, like the memory itself had left a mark that could never be erased. I sat on the edge of our old bed and looked around the bedroom we had shared for more than 4 decades. The queen fold neatly at the foot of the bed had been stitched by my mother. The white dresser had traveled with us through 3 different homes before we finally settled in Columbus. The face photograph on the nightstand showed Thomas holding Daniel on his shoulder during a photo of Julie when Daniel was only 5 years old. Every old bed in that room carried a story. Every story carried a piece of our family. Isomel, the one I tấm thạc mắt most had become nothing more than something to sell. Economy ice and rembet the afternoon Thomas Lipet tagring on to me figure. We were both 26 years old, standing in a small white chuk surabi relative vegetable bullet, we will never make it beke neither of us had much money. Thomas my same quiz my hair wore every morning until the week had passed away. He squared me hand and whispered that one day we will grow old together, and every wrinkle will simply bear another chapter of our promise. For 42 years, he kept every promise he ever made Thomas. That was why losing the ring hurt so deeply. It was never about the value of the gold. It was about the lie attached to it. Doubtlessly, it could hear Ashley logging while watching smithing on television. Daniel joined her a few moments later, and before long they were discussing dinner plan as how nothing should have happened. They voice dry through the voluble week and is that understand me. They were comforting beke to believe the matter was finished. They assumed an older woman will agree quickly, forget quickly, and move on without asking difficult questions. It really turned that they had mistaken this for weekends. Thomas never made that mistake. He often told Daniel that parties and surrender were never the same thing. As the afternoon sunlight sat across the bedroom floor, he opened the drawer beside me bed and removed a one little folder with Thomas kept important family paper. Insurance record, property deed, old receipt, handwritten note, and warranty các hát on being cafe organic in clear plastic sleeve. Thomas believed every meaningful process in this ever a history. As he took it by, he found something he had forgotten as it. Phonically behind the Oreo appraisal for me grandma's super necklace was the certificate for me wedding ring. The jeweler's name was printed across the top of the page, along with the serial number, the engraving description, and a note that lifetime service record will always remain on file. Eagerly traced Thomas' signature at the bottom of the receipt before forwarding the paper back into plus. A slow breath escaped me lip. For the first time since opening that empty jeweler box, he felt something odd and horrible. He felt clarity. If Ashley had truly shown the ring, then Somel had accepted it. And if Somel had accepted it, then Somel had seen the engraving Thomas had insisted upon on those years ago. I felt played the certificate into me pussy, stood before a bedroom mirror, stayed me sweater, and quietly thanked Thomas for waiting one step ahead. The next morning, after the morning rush house had settled, I locked the front door behind me and dropped toward the only jeweler store in town that had known our family for generations. Harold Bennett looked exactly as I remembered him, only a little slow and with more shiver in his head than last time Thomas and I had visited his jeweler store together. The small bell above the front door chimed as it stepped inside, and the familiar scent of polished wood and jeweler cleaner instantly carried me back the gate. Harold looked up from the glass display case and smiled prettily before his personal children. He recognized me immediately. Margaret, he had sighed gently, it has been a long time. He returned his smile, and how it felt much heavier than he intended. It has, he answered. I wish I were here under happy circumstances. He invited me to sit beside his workbench, with tiny tools we lined up with the same care Thomas once said, while occupying his garage. He removed the full certificate from me push and placed it carefully on the counter. Harold adjusted his reading glass, studied the document, then slowly nodded. I remember this ring, he had sighed quietly. Thomas spent weeks choosing it. He wanted every detail to be perfect. Hearing those words tighten something inside me check, but I remained calm. The ring is gone, he sighed. Somel showed it without me permission. Harold became very still. His eyes dried toward the back room before returning to me. For several long seconds he did not speak. Finally he sighed. Margaret, I cannot discuss another customer's private business unless there is a legitimate reason. I know that BKE understood. The ring belonged to me, I replied softly. I have the original certificate, the appraisal, the engraving description, and photograph of me wearing it for more than 40 years. I am not here to accuse anyone. I only want the truth. Haron studied me face with a quick patterns taken from a lifetime of reading people. Then he read beneath the counter and opened a sacrifice drawer. He compared serial number on me certificate with several record stored in his computer. His eyebrows loud like fat. He was afraid of this, he had whispered. Me heard bad reminds today event how he cao felt the answer approaching. Haron tung the monitor slide toward him the book did not reveal the screen. The ring came through this 30 days ago, he had admit. It was not meant that thou became the engraving made it that it carries sentimental value. He played it in the secret inventor why dancing whether to contact the oral family. He closed my eyes for only a moment, grateful that much rings to exist smell nearby. Haron continued speaking careful. The woman video shown it presented a driver's license, Saigon the Transatin Papua, and claimed she had inherited it after a family estate was settled. He asked only one question. Did she come alone? Haron nodded. Yes. Alone. He reached into another folder and removed a photocopy of the Transatin record, covering part of the page with his hand. He cannot really ever ring without follow the law, he had outlined. The book he can tell you that the signature does not matter name engraved inside that ring. Then he looked dicely into my eyes. Margaret, if you decide to push this properly, every document, every security recording, and every record of today's conversation will still be here. He folded my hands together and thanked him sincerely. As he stood to leave, Haron spoke one final sentence that stayed with me during the entire home. Do hút bang anh mới believe that honesty has a way of returning when people least expect it. It's my for the first time since Thomas reading this paper, became deep inside he knew this story was no longer about a missing family heirloom. It had clearly become a test of character, and sooner or later, everything in my family will have to river vegetable they truly were. The drive home felt strangely peaceful. The afternoon sun set across the quick street of our neighbor, and for the first time in several days it was no longer wondering what had happened. It knew and now. What remained was understand how far the destino reached. He pulled into the driveway and noted Ashley's sport utility was gone. Daniel's pickup truck was still parked beside the garage, but the house itself was unusually quiet. He unlocked the front door and stepped inside, carrying only my push and the photocopy of the appraisal certificate. Daniel looked up from the dining room table where his laptop was open beside a stack of work paper. He smiled politely, the way people smile when they hope everything uncomfortable has already passed. How was your morning, Mom? He had asked. Peaceful, he answered. It stopped being an old French business. He nodded without asking another question. Years ago, Daniel will have wanted every detail of my day. He will have asked whether he needed anything from the grocery store or whether he wanted to have lunch together. Somewhere along the way, those conversations disappeared so gradually that he barely noticed until they were entangled. He poured me a glass of iced tea and sat by the kitchen window. The maple tree Thomas planted when Daniel graduated from high school swingingly in the summer breeze. Thomas always believed trees were a reminder that strong root took it to build. Looking at that tree, he believed family worked the same way. Trust grew slow, but it could disappear much faster than anyone expected. A little later, Ashley returned carrying several shopping bags from the outer mall. She greeted me cheerfully, as though nothing unusual had happened that week. She even placed a basketball on the counter and offered me a slice of lemon cake. I thanked her with a smile and accepted the plate. She smelled relieved by me can. She made to soak coffee for working, and that Miss Sundan was becoming her great weekends. As she unpacked her puja, I quickly noticed something I hadn't got before. A brand new dye handbag right beside the grocery bag. A pile of expensive sunglasses still had a price tag attached. There were fake decorative pillows for the living room and several boxes from high-end home store. Ashley had always enjoyed nice things, but recently the puja had become more frequent. I remembered my conversion from the past several months. She had suggest selling Thomas antique pocket watch BK nobody would watch like that anymore. She had asked whether Theo silver serving set was still sterling or merrily plated. She had even wondered aloud whether Migros Moschina cabin will bring a good price at an estate or couldn't. At the time he dismissed it comment as casual curiosity. Sitting till with me glad of tea, those memories settled to like piece of her complete puro. She had not been admiring family hay long. She had been asking value to them. That evening, after Evelyn went upstairs, he wandered quietly through the house with a small notebook Thomas once kept in his desk. He wrote down every meaningful item we had collected during our marriage, the grandfather clock in the handway, the crystal vase from the 20th anniversary, the pocket watch, the handkerchief rocking chair, the framed military medal belonging to Thomas' father, and the empty space with wedding ring had read for so many years. By the time he closed the notebook, he understood something that felt met with determination instead of fear. Losing one treasured possession had opened my eyes before he lost everything else. And from that moment forward, he intended to make certain that every remaining piece of Thomas' legacy stay easily with her heart and we wanted it. The next morning he woke before sunrise, just as Thomas always had. The house was silent except for the steady ticking of the grandfather clock in the handway. He brewed a fat pot of coffee and carried my favorite mug onto the back porch, watching the first light streak across the lawn we had planted 2 years ago. Thomas said to say that every morning offer people a joy. Take out either repeat yesterday or prepare for tomorrow. For the first time since losing him, he understood easily what he meant. After breakfast, he collected at Tony Veduccio had handled our estate planning for more than 20 years. His name was Richard Collins, and had met both Thomas and me immediately. When he asked whether he had time to review a few family matters, he suggested he can be that afternoon. He did not tell anyone where he was going. When Ashley asked whether he had planned for the day, he simply smiled and told her he wanted to enjoy the beautiful weather. She seemed satisfied with that answer. Richard welcomed me into his office with genuine kindness. Family photograph decorated one wall, and framed law dagger cover another. The room felt familiar and more comforting. It's like every cafe, never raising my voice and never exaggerating a single detail. He described the missing Halom, the conversion in my kitchen, my visit with Haron, and the ground concern that other family possessing my answer disappear if he remains silent. Richard listened without interrupting. When he finished, he folded his hands and leaned back in his chair. Margaret, he had sighed gently, protesting your property is not same as punishing your family. You have every right to make certain your wife's respect. Those words like fade away from me, sir. For several he had worried that setting bothered my smell made me upper unkin. Thomas never believed that. He believed respect shall exist in both directions. Richard suggested document every valuable item in the house, updating me estate record, and placing certain family heirloom into sequestration until everything became clear. None of those steps required anger. They simply required wisdom. Before he left, he handed me a fuller contract paperwork that he could review at home before making any final decision. As he drove away, he realized he no longer felt threatened. He felt prepared. When he returned home late that afternoon, Ashley was arranging fresh flowers in the dining room while Daniel watched a basketball game in the living room. Everything looked perfectly ordinary. Ashley even complimented the blue he was wearing and asked whether he had enjoyed my afternoon. Very much, he answered truthfully. She smiled, believing she still understood every move he would make. That evening, while everyone slept, he quietly got the most meaningful item Thomas and he had collected throughout our marriage. The pocket watch, the military medal, the original family photograph, my grandmother's necklace, and several important documents on fit neatly into 2 small storage cases. Only the following morning, before either Ashley or Daniel came downstairs, he rented as a deposit box at the local bank and placed every piece inside. As the bank employee locked the vault door, he felt an unexpected sense of peace. The memory Thomas and he had built together will finally say again. Whoever believed they could clearly decide the future of my family's legacy was about to discover that he had been paying much more attention than they ever imagined. For the next several days he behaved exactly as he always had. He prepared breakfast every morning, watered the flower Thomas had planted along the front walkway, folded the laundry, and smiled whenever Ashley spoke to me. If she noticed anything different, she never mentioned it. That was exactly what he wanted. People often river the most when they believe no one is paying attention. On Wednesday afternoon he heard Ashley talking on the phone in the family room while she assumed he was gardening in the backyard. The kitchen window was open just enough for her voice to drip out thick with a warm summer breeze. He was not trying to listen, but one sentence read me clear. "You're not worried," she said with a quick laugh. "There are still plenty of valuable things in this house." He froze for only a moment before continuing to trim the rose bushes. Thomas always said that reading too quickly can cause a person to trust. So he kept flipping the roses as though he had heard nothing at all. That evening Ashley wandered into the living room carrying Margaret's crystal vase. She held it toward the sunlight, studying every detail. "This must be worth something," she said casually. "It looks antique. It's my secret. It has been in my family for almost 80 years." She nodded with interest before placing it back on the shelf. A few moments later he will have believed she simply appreciated a beautiful thing. Now he recognized the look in her eyes. She was measuring possibility instead of memory. Daniel had noted the exchange. He was answering work email from his laptop and simply smiled before returning to the screen. Watching me song in God's moment hurt more than he wanted to admit. He was not a cruel man by nature. He had simply become comfortable allowing someone else to make decisions that affect everything around him. He wondered how management compromise has allowed changes the thoughtful boy Thomas and he had reset into the quick man sitting across the room. The following morning my telephone rang just after 10 o'clock. It was Harold. His voice sounded calm but purposeful. "Margaret," he had said, "I wanted you to know that someone collected to asking whether the ring had already been resold. He did not provide any information, of course. I thanked him for letting me know." After we ended the call, he sat quietly with me notebook and wrote down the date, the time, and everything Harold had said. Richard had advised me to keep careful record, and he intended to follow every piece of his advice. Phát Carib pha mô quay thang emotion. That afternoon, invite Daniel to join me on the back porch for I sat while Ashley beside a friend. We talked about basketball, the weather, and his work before he gently asked him what had better promise he made to his father during those final days in the hospital. Daniel looked surprised. His eyes dried toward the map before he answered softly. "That asked me to take care of you." He nodded. "He also asked you to protect the history of this family." Daniel lowered his eyes into his glass without saying another word. For the first time since all of this began, he saw uncertainty reply confident. Deep inside he sensed that the silences around our family will not last much longer, because truth has a remarkable way of finding the people who have been avoiding it longer. Saturday Arik weekly sky and taking up Gento Brother Thomas and we collect perfect pot weather. He invite Daniel and Ashley to dinner that evening, telling them he wanted us to spend time together as a family. Ashley happily offered to bring dessert, and Daniel thanked me for making everyone's favorite pork roast. Watching them smile and mock made the past week feel unreal, but apparently can be comforting when people believe they have nothing left to hide. He spent the afternoon setting the dining room up with the same care he had shown for family dinner throughout our Maria. The good china reflected the soft light from the chandelier. Fred followed red in the center of the table. Thomas' favorite album played clearly through the living room speaker. Everything looked exactly as it had for Carlton family gathering over here, except this time it was no longer trying to present the illusion that everything was fine. He was preparing to protect the truth. After dinner, Ashley complimented the men while Daniel helped clear the plate. Ethan kept them both before walking into the living room and returned with a small wooden box. Ashley recognized it immediately. It was the same yellow box she had seen sitting on my dresser foyer. She exchanged a quick glance with Daniel book remissilent. He placed the empty box in the middle of the table and dragged me hands beside it. Thomas said to tell me that every family inherits more than money, it is said clearly. They inherit trust. Once that disappears, it is far more difficult to replicate any possession. Daniel lowered his eyes. Ashley folded her hands to the book forced a pleasant smile. Before either of them spoke, he placed another folder beside the wooden box. Inside were copies of the original appraisal, the engraving certificate, my update estate document, and a written inventory of every family heirloom that had belonged to Thomas and me. Finally, Eli one business card on top of the paper. Harold Bennett's name was printed neatly across front. Ashley's smile disappeared. She recognized the name instantly. The silence that followed felt longer than any argument could have been. Daniel looked from the business card to me, then back toward Ashley. What is this? He had asked softly. He made me search eyes instead of her. It is the bearing of the truth, he answered. The ring was never lost. It was identified, documented, and protected before it could disappear forever. Ashley's face lost its confidence. She opened her mouth as though searching for an explanation, but none came. He did not accuse her. He did not raise my voice. Instead, he slid one final envelope across the top toward Daniel. Inside was a letter Thomas had written early, one he had almost forgotten until searching through our family record. In it, he reminded our son that love is mirrored the way we protect people who can no longer protect themselves. Daniel read every word in complete silence. When he finally looked up, his eyes reflected not with anger, but with regret. He clearly apologized for failing to ask questions when he saw heavy listening. He accepted his apology because healing begins with honesty, but he also acted like that trust while having to bear young again over time. Before the evening ended, he told them both that every family heirloom had been placed on Melsey, my estate plan had been updated, and every future decision about my property will remain mine alone. Then he picked up the empty yellow box, smiled gently, and released something Thomas had now owned alone. The great legacy we leave behind is not a thing we own. It is the courage to protect what those things truly represent.